Hey, afternoon, everybody. This is Romero 17, and in lieu of this bad motherfucker belt that's going down at UFC 244 with Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, I decided to do a Diaz Brothers showcase with Nate and Nick. Kind of want to showcase a few of the skills, get a few things off the back, show off a few of their boxing combinations. And, you know, Nate, he's done a real good job, man. He came from, he's always been relatively inconsistent. You know, always used to like make excuses, but he's owned up, has become a way better fighter. His performance against Anthony Pettis was wild. And in this game, they did him a lot of justice when it came to the boxing. Now, good adjustment from my opponent. I went for the takedown counter the first attempt, but with the driving takedown, it nullifies the TD counter, so he brings me to the cage. Nate's takedown defense isn't too Gucci, and he pre-denies the break. Takes me down. So not a good spot here, and he pre-denies the full guard. So, little tip here. When you're on the bottom, especially against somebody like George St. Pierre, you can always expect right there, he waited too long to transition or deny the crucifix. And now he's pre-denying the full guard. So I know he's really focused on not letting me get that animation. So I just went for a half guard. But if you want to stop your opponent from hurting you with elbows, you want to cancel your transition with L1. You have to time it accordingly. The right thing for them to do is to either just simply transition while you're faking, and they can, you know, either transition the top mount. But there he makes a fatal mistake. He's in my guard with Nate Diaz. Get the triangle choke and the 2-save submission, and this fight is over. All right, that was quick. On to the next fight. Now, when it comes to the Diaz brothers, they have two counterparts in two separate divisions. The one division that they share is the welterweight division. So Nate in the welterweight division isn't as good as he is in the lightweight division, and Nick in the middleweight division is not as good as the one in the welterweight division. Nick in the welterweight division, because of his chin, his body snatcher perk, and a lot of like the tools that he has in his disposal, that 97 chin on level 5 boxing combos, and all of his punching combinations are at a really high level, so you can throw them and not really lose too much stamina. Now, Nick's kryptonite is generally leg kicks and body strikes, oddly enough. So a lot of mistakes that players make when they're fighting a Nick Diaz, they headhunt a lot. And they almost really like gas themselves trying to hunt the head so much rather than going to the body. Because it's just head health versus head health. It's just not, it's a war of attrition. It's going to be really hard to do. Nick is, throughout his career, he's done a really good job of swarming his opponents, frustrating them, taunting them within the cage. If you watch his fight with Paul Daly, somebody who's an absolute beast now in Bellator, or you watch his fight against BJ Penn where he pretty much shut that man down from where he beat the crap out of Frank Shamrock in Strikeforce. I believe he like defended the belt in Strikeforce actually 3 times. So the dude was no joke. But it was kind of a shame to see him get suspended for so long because it killed whatever fire he had left in fighting. And then, you know, the delusions he had when he fought George St. Pierre. But Dave did this man crazy good justice in this game. Like, he is ridiculous. Like, I'm eating these shots and they're barely doing anything to my head. So, if I was this player, if I was the Masvidal player, right, I would keep my exchanges short in the pocket and I'd focus on going to the body just like that. And I would work on the leg kicks. His 2 lowest stats are his body health and his leg health. So if you were to gradually chip away, especially in a 5-round fight, or if you're a pretty good grappler, you can slow him down that way. Kind of outwork me in the clinch. That'd be a good way to beat Nick. Good combination from him there. And with Nick, because his head health is so high, when I'm using him, it gives me more time to make reads, knowing that I'm not going to take as much damage if I sway something. Like, I'm taking a mental note of how when he goes with a lead hook, he likes to follow up with a straight. When he goes with the uppercut and lead hook, that means I can pull counter the uppercut and then land an uppercut of my own. So I'm keeping a mental note of that for later in the fight. When he starts to sway, I start to lead with hooks. He's already kind of going for broke here in round 1 instead of staying composed. But you see the small body shots that Espumilla, that's his name, is doing. Those are good. It's good. Try to frustrate me with that. That's a good combination there too. It's always harder to catch the body kick when they're thrown in combination. Right there, he made a mistake. He went to the head. He could have just gone to the body after that hit stun. But it's a relatively successful round with Nick. And Nick is just extremely frustrating. Just extremely, extremely frustrating. Especially in rounds 1 and 2. Honestly, before I used to think it'd be like a nightmare to run into him with RDA. But RDA's grappling and the clinch kind of subdue him really well. Obviously, Kamaru, Kobe, GSP, and even Thompson if you can keep the fight on the outside. And there, that's the first sign of the pull. Missed that uppercut, and I slipped the slip counter. But it's just always a tough fight against a really good Nick. And Jorge is somebody that I consider a counter to Nick. This guy isn't really doing the right things. Like if I were him, I would have fired off maybe like 2 or 3 knees. There, I slipped straight after the hook. You know, if you fire off like 3 knees, guy's gonna be like, all right, let me get out of there. But there, I hit a nice block counter. So when he was trying to follow up with the overhand, because I timed the block counter correctly and he hit my lead side of my block, I block countered with my lead hand with the lead uppercut. Not there. I slipped a straight strike again and hit him with the slip hook. And I can imagine it's pretty frustrating to see fight somebody and you're so focused on reacting to them that you're not really focused on your own game plan. Like you see right here, he's reacting to me. He's not imposing as well on me. He's not showing that he's not gonna stick to his guns or anything like that. He's just reacting, and hoping that I make a mistake. And he hasn't done much to change the game plan. Ooh, I could have got the head kicked out of me there. But again, it comes with that uppercut hook. He always likes to go uppercut hook. He's hurt now. And this is the worst time to go for something where you're predictable. He goes for the uppercut hook. Land the pull counter uppercut. Double body hook and come up to the head, and this fight is over. That boxing level is something else, man. On to this next fight. Now, got Nick again. I couldn't get a fight with Nate right after. Nate would probably be the last fight. Now, Cerrone's an interesting dude. He has like an 80 body health. Has a nasty triangle choke where it can become a 2-stage, just like Nate. Excuse me. But it's almost like a double-edged sword because some players, they use Cerrone and that's their end goal. That's the only thing they really know. They're like, all right, I gotta get this. So now he bumped one away. And right there, what happened there, why he didn't get that submission, is because I flicked the green prompt before he did. You can flick that too. It's not just up to him to flick his own thing. But I'm also give you guys some tips on the ground. So for as long as the animation is active, you can deny it. Obviously, latency, delay is going to play a factor. So you got to make do with what you got to make do with your timing. So watch this. So he goes to his left. When you see him hip to his left, that means I have to deny to the left. Another tip on the ground is the hand that's holding the head, the side opposite of that, you know, the hand that isn't holding the head, that's the side where the submission is going to be. The side where the hand is holding the head, that's usually either where rubber guard is or where that hip bump is, to kind of build grapple advantage like he's trying to do right there. So when you hip bump like that, like he did the first time, it builds up your grapple advantage and it makes your transition a little bit faster. So that's how he was able to get that triangle choke the first time. But now I've kind of picked up that he knows how to do that. Now, in half guard postured up, if somebody has the arm triangle, you usually don't want to come up this way. But I know Cerrone's top game isn't anything crazy. I'm barely losing any stamina, getting denied. Now I'm getting to full guard. Now, a little tip. That's the bottom guy. He tries to go to my left. I transition to the left with rubber guard, and I take priority. In rubber guard, whatever hand is moving, that's the way you want to deny. So left hand's left denial, right hand is right denial. Now, interesting thing about Nick Diaz, I'm not too sure. Somebody correct me on this in the comment section if I'm wrong. But I didn't know that the Gogo Plata, the submission was actually down. I've almost got caught in it a few times because I'm thinking, oh, it has to be right, like the inverted triangle. No, it's actually down. So I don't know if anybody else has the gogoplata aside from him, but to deny the gogoplata, it would have to be R2 and down. Right here, he's trying to see right there what he was trying to do. He was trying to get me to bite on those fakes. If I mistime my flick to try to deny those fakes, it builds his grapple advantage. But because I didn't bite on those fakes, that's why that little full guard hit bump was so slow. And it was so easy for me to deny. And the reason I'm staying on top here is that, well, the more I deny, and the more I get these body hooks off, more damage I'm doing to his body. Winning the round, keep things under control. And this will give this guy, you know, man, this guy really just controlled me on the ground with Nick Diaz of all people. It's not even using like a crazy grappler. So I know heading into the next round, he's going to think twice. He's like, do I even want to take this guy down again? Because it didn't really work out. But, thank you. But yeah, Cerrone has really good kickboxing combos. And if you could time his kicks or like his knees when somebody's punching to the body or trying to come in from a long distance. I don't know why he's coming into this punching range. This punching range is not good for Donald Cerrone. Really struggles there. And with me landing those body hooks, it means his body health is a freaking 75. Now a little random like lag spike happened there, kind of saved me from ducking into a knee. And you know, I like to see my opponents make adjustments because it kind of forces me to change up my game plan. You know, I want to see if he's gonna time a leg kick when I'm coming in at a distance. He's gonna try to slip my combinations, hurt me somehow. Speaking of adjustments, he did a good job timing that head kick as I was coming into range with a jab. But he got a little bit too overzealous. He was really predictable with that uppercut hook earlier in the fight, so I managed to time a pull counter there. Lunges away, so he gets his back off the cage. All good. Slipped it straight. And this guy, like I took a mental note in the first round, he likes that uppercut hook. And I'm ducking, trying to see if he wants to time anything. Tries to time a head kick one more time. And this is the issue of trying to do the same combination over and over again. You just become a little bit too predictable, and it's just that much easier to counter you. Ducking, counter against the jab, uppercut, hook for a KO. That shit was clean. Oh, man. That shit was clean, man. That shit was clean. All right. On to the last fight. Going against Tony Ferguson with Nate Diaz. Lightweight Nate Diaz, way better than welterweight Nate Diaz. I want to get a little bit more boxing combinations off with Nate, because the first fight I got with him, the guy was really overzealous and took me to the ground only to get subbed. And I managed to do Nick some justice on the feet in the last two fights, so I really wanted to make sure. I'm like, all right, I don't really want to get another sub. If I could sub a Ferguson, cool, but I really want to let the hands go here. Ferguson, he's another guy with a really good chin, akin to like Nick Diaz, but his kryptonite's almost the same thing: body health, leg health. Only difference is that in the pocket he has this dangerous ass annoying move, and it's like a spinning elbow. So I'm always aware of that. When I run into a Ferguson, I'm like, all right, am I gonna fight a Beyblade or am I gonna fight a reasonable human being? No touch of the gloves. Okay. Alright, nice respect. Now, the jab lead hook, that's a really good entry combination. There's a little sway counter that you can land against that. Now, I'm making my mental notes, kind of making my reads here. He likes to follow up with a hook on his combinations, especially in the third strike, so I'll land the pull counter here. So, the jab rear hook tends to beat guys when they try to slip to the rear leg side. But it's actually a slip counter that you can throw where it takes your head off the center line and you can land a check hook. And it's really underutilized because people don't realize how helpful it is. Yeah, I land a pull counter once more. Got a little bit out of range. I don't know, because it was like a little tracking issue here. But to do like the little check hook, you want to dip your head off to the inside against the straight strike. And whether it's going to be a straight strike that comes in next or the lead hook, you can generally land that check hook relatively easily. Only issue would be if they go jab rear hook. You see right there? He tried to go jab lead hook, and I followed up with the check hook again. With Nate, I don't really want to chase. I want to make sure if I work into the pocket, I'm going to go 1-2, and then I follow off 3 or 4 shots depending on what my opponent's doing. And again, this is like another player that I don't see utilizing any leg kicks at all. Now he's using the rear hook. That's good recognition there. Kind of discouraging me from trying to hit the slip hook. Lunge out of the way. And here one more time for good measure. See that? Tries to go jab, lead hook. And there's a hit stun animation using this check hook. So it's another way to deal with somebody who's leading with the jab a lot and mixing up that jab lead hook. You see that? He's still going for it. Doesn't realize why it's working. Trying to force a pull counter. But with the Nate Diaz, again another check hook. I want to work 2 shots in, and if he chooses to stay in my face rather than back away, I'm just gonna let loose with my hands. So I pressure, keep him against the cage, try to load up some hooks. But Tony's footwork is pretty good. Good knee and elbow, trying to get me to back off. There's the spinning Beyblade action I expected. Tries to clinch me, I lunge away. Goes for the flying knee. I don't know if he was kind of confused there, didn't know what to do. And there, I made a crucial mistake that the only downside of working that specific way, you know, coming in with 2 shots and then loading up 3, my short-term stamina is low. Here I kind of fucked up, and I was trying to do the little stack guard hip bump, and I screwed up bad. I almost got KO'd there because I was looking for the submission. It was on the left side, but I waited way too long, and I gave him enough grapple advantage, and it was just taking way too long. But aside from that little scare in the end there, and that little small error, and then almost a big error, doing pretty good with Nate. Doing a good job letting the hands go. His head health was obviously hurt. I've been catching him in these exchanges, especially like in the middle of his shots when I'm countering him. Tries to go for a slip counter and he walks into my hook. And here's a nice little block breaker that I like to hit. Hook, hook, hook. Follow up with a straight strike to break it down the middle. And this fight is over. Alright, so Romero 17, this is the Diaz Brothers Showcase. You got Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal ready to throw down at UFC 244. You guys want me to showcase any other fighters? I might do Jorge next. Let me know in the comment section. Drop a like on the video. Romero 17, I'm out.